Hey guys, and welcome back to the Courageous Nerd YouTube channel for another interview. I'm Connor, and joining me today is Devan Chandler Long to chat all about playing Thorfinn on the new CBS sitcom Ghosts, based on a BBC series of the same name. If you enjoyed this interview or others on the channel, please be sure to like and subscribe. Welcome, Devan, and thank you for taking the time to speak with me today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
For sure. And I know obviously you're currently on Ghost for CBS, but before we kind of get into that directly, I was wondering how you first started acting and like what made you pursue it professionally.
You know, it was never even on my horizon as a kid. I just didn't even think it was possible. It was just,
Mm,
growing up, like I loved movies. It was like we didn't have TV in my household,
yeah.
but we did have movies, like VHS movies. So I'd
Mm,
get movies and I would just watch them over and over again. And I just fell in love with the whole industry, but I didn't think it was a possibility.
mm,
So I grew up playing sports. So I played football. Uh, Went to college for that and then played a little bit professionally. And when that journey came to a close, I kind of had this void in my life. I just didn't know what to do with myself. I
mm,
kind of, I devoted my whole life to one facet, and I
yeah.
just when that gets taken away, you lose your identity, and I completely lost my identity. I went from signing my name with a number after it
Mm,
to just having a name, and I was like,
mm,
people were like, "What do you do?" I was like, "Oh, I used to
yeah.
play football." So I kind of wandered, for a couple
Mm,
of years, and I had an opportunity to come out to Venice Beach, and I didn't really have an intention to get in the industry at all.
yeah.
I came out here just wanting to be, in the sand. And a friend of
Mm,
mine mentioned that he had an agent, and you can go up for some commercials and TV stuff. And I was like, what? He's like, oh, it's
mm,
fun. You get to dress up and you do these characters. I was like, all right. And
yeah.
so, I literally couldn't get any other kind of job. Like I think I had tried to apply for some job like selling artwork, but I
Oh,
have no
okay.
idea. Oh, it was like I tried to
Mm,
do things, but the universe was like, no,
yeah.
Devin, you're not gonna do anything. Like
You
you
gotta
just
act.
couldn't
You
get a
gotta
job.
act.
Yeah, well, I guess, and I was just like, I
Yeah.
heard that like if you book one job, you can get good money and you work for a couple of days. I was like, okay, I'll
Yeah.
try this out. And I got an agent. I convinced this agent to give me a shot. And he's like, all right, we'll give you a month. We'll see what you could do. And
Mm,
I got really lucky. And I booked a couple jobs, a couple commercial jobs, and I was like, wow, this is fun.
mm,
It was intriguing. It was commercial work, so it wasn't like
y-
real heavy stuff. It was mostly
sure.
like I had a look, got the big forehead, kind of
Yeah.
big guy stuff. And but I was really intrigued by it, and as one thing led to another. Opportunities kept presenting themselves, and eventually TV opportunities came along, and I just kind of went with it. I just followed my instinct. My
Yeah.
heart was just telling me to go forward. And I was very curious about just pursuing the craft a little bit, and kind of, I don't know, just kind of like understanding more about acting, because you know it was never, I didn't do drama class in high school or anything like that, so I didn't have
Sure.
any professional training. So I just,
Yeah.
I took a couple classes, did some improv stuff, and man, I just fell in love with it. I
Yeah.
really did. And I don't know, you know how the universe works. Like
Mm,
when you align, your thoughts and your emotions and your heart and your intention, the universe just seems to kind of like
yeah.
conspire in your
Mm,
favor. And doors kept opening, and I just kept trucking. Really,
yeah.
it's a grind. You just got. I mean, there's so much failure out here, but when you
Mm,
get the wins, you celebrate
yeah.
those wins, and just, I mean, 10 years later,
Mm,
booked some jobs and got some cool things. And honestly, I've just been really grateful to have been able to make a living doing this.
yeah. I mean, I always find these kind of stories really interesting in that, like, probably when you were in school and like being asked, like, what would you want to do when you're older? Like, you would never have said acting, right? You're doing, one of those people where you do something completely different to what your answer would have been back then.
I didn't even think it was a possibility.
Yeah.
Honestly, it didn't even occur to me that, I just thought like, okay, like I loved Top Gun when I was a kid. I was like, basically, Tom Cruise was born a movie star, and then he was like, I didn't, couldn't, didn't even, wasn't even like
Yeah.
possibility that like, oh, you could actually become
Mm.
in TV and movies and stuff like that. Just
Yeah.
didn't even occur to me. But like, I grew up on an island, like I said, so it was like
Mm.
12,000 people up there. But like I saw the path. It's like, oh, you can play sports, and so for some reason, most people are like, I want to be a professional athlete. And for
Yeah.
some reason, my brother, he paved the way. But like being a professional athlete seemed super like easy, not easy,
Oh,
but like you could reach out and touch
achievable.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, very achievable. And yeah, I just always thought that acting was just something that like it was a mystery. It
Yeah.
was a mystical thing that no one could ever touch.
Yeah, and as I briefly mentioned there, as I said, you're currently playing Thorfinn on Ghost for CBS, and I was wondering, like, because personally, I'm a fan of the BBC original show that inspired your version. Like, had you ever watched it, and like, do you appreciate having that kind of resource available to you?
I did watch it, and it's great. Those guys are
Yeah,
fantastic. Everyone over there, and a lot of people don't know, but they're actually producers on our show.
yeah, yeah. I was gonna, yeah, get to that. Yeah.
Yeah, so they got their hands in both cookie jars, and they're
Mm,
fantastic over there. I love what they do. All their characters are so fleshed out, and I just love the tone of the show. It's very dry, and they don't rush anything. And I just think it's a beautiful show what they have
mm,
over there. And I'm just grateful to have the opportunity to kind of take it and put our wrinkle on it.
yeah. Yeah, because the reason why I had it in my head to mention them being EPs on your version is that I think Thorfinn is kind of similar to Robin
Yeah.
on the British show, played by Lawrence Rickard. So like I was wondering then, I mean, maybe not even so much as you and Lawrence, but did you have any kind of discussion with them about like um, playing versions of characters that they'd originated? No.
No one talked to me about anything. No.
Oh,
I think you never know what's going on behind the scenes when the shows get started. You got
yeah.
a lot of people, a lot of producers and writers, and everyone's got their idea of something. And when they're doing the casting process, I think they just they don't want to tell you what they're looking for or anything like that. They just kind of give you the idea and see what you bring to the table.
Mm,
And I guess they just liked my version of Thorfinn. But we never talked. No one ever talked to me about like I mean, essentially from the character description when I first got the audition, I was like,
yeah.
he's caught obsessed and he's kind of lovable,
Mm,
you know, big old lumbering Viking.
mm,
No, I just kind of I read the breakdown. I said, oh, okay, I think I know this guy.
yeah.
I've been hanging out with this guy for quite some time. So I
Mm,
just literally just brought him to the table and let it
yeah.
happen.
Yeah, I mean, I could be completely wrong. So I don't know like how they get their information or like when they get it. But I seem to remember because I was like following along with like Deadline when like they were announcing things to do with this show. Because like I said, I was a fan of the BBC one. And were you the very last person to get cast? Or I think I remember. I think you were announced last anyway. But I don't know if
I
you
was
were.
announced last. What had happened? I was actually one of the first people. Well, I was probably one of like the first 4 or 5 people casted.
Yeah.
But they for the first episode, they
Mm,
I don't think they knew what the show was going to be, or everyone was trying to figure it out, and so they
yeah.
brought me as a guest star.
Okay.
I was initially a series regular when I
Mm,
auditioned for it, and then they told me they said, "Hey, Devin, this it's going to be a guest star." And I said, okay, no problem. Like I love Thorfinn, and honestly I would have done it if it was like a co-star or an extra.
mm,
Like I was like, sure, like
yeah.
I love this character. And so what had happened is I was always on the show, and then they went ahead, it was like March 13th. I mean, we'd already done hair, makeup testing, everything like that. I think we still hadn't casted Flower.
Yeah.
Uh, Sasapis wasn't casted yet. I mean, I don't think Jay wasn't even casted yet. I think there
Oh.
was a couple other characters. Yeah, because we were just like looking for the rest of the cast, and
Yeah.
then we got shut down because the whole COVID thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we went on, and then finally everyone, maybe in November, September, that's when the rest of the cast got fleshed out. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, they announced. I think when they announced me, that was like them saying, "Oh, Devin's going to be a regular on the show." But
Oh, that maybe then. Yeah.
yeah, because they don't
Yeah.
announce like if you're a guest star. There's just
Oh,
the protocol they do in the industry. It's whatever it is.
yeah. Yeah, because obviously I mentioned that I've watched both, and I think both are great for like what they each kind of stand on. But like, and obviously you have a vested interest in your version. You've watched the BBC one, but how do you think you might try to convince like really passionate fans of the original who might be kind of hesitant to check out your version? Like, what do you think are the selling points to make them check
I'm
it
not
out?
in the business of convincing anyone to do
Oh,
anything.
well, sure, yeah, but yeah,
I kind of like to just, there's a thing you just kind of lead by example. Like I don't, people will come and find it, and
yeah,
if you get curious and you want to look at it, and then it's on you. But it's like persuading someone to do something, that they don't
yeah.
feel intuitively to do in that moment is not. I don't want to do it. So it's like
Mm,
I
that's,
think
that's fair.
I think this show will find its people. It might take a little
Mm,
bit of time, but it already seems to have found a good base here in America.
yeah,
And I think everyone overseas, I think, people will get, maybe it'll be a boring Sunday, and they'll be like, let's see what this thing's all about. And if they check it out, I think they might be pleasantly survived. That's
mm,
or surprised, not survived. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I know obviously something I find really interesting as well about like film, TV in general is when characters have history before the story starts. Obviously, like in the case of this, like you and the other ghosts would have had decades, if not centuries, of in that space together. So like, did you and the other actors kind of talk about like what your dynamic might have been like before like Rose McIver turns up?
All the time. We're always talking
Mm,
about backstories. When plots come up on episodes, we're like, wait, hold on. So wait, if this happened then, and then wait, well then Pete died here, so he would have known about this, and then
yeah.
would we have seen that? Where was I? Because I was alive. I probably saw everything happen.
Mm,
There's all these things, but at the end of the day, it's like you can only use those ideas to inform your approach to the episode because
yeah.
so it's scripted. So like we can't, I mean, we
Yeah.
do improv a lot, which
Hmm.
is really fun. It's just great that the Joes and the directors allow us to like improv, and sometimes stuff makes it in, sometimes it doesn't, but a lot of times that improv informs a
Yeah.
lot of the way uh, characters develop throughout the season, just because they are getting a chance, the writers, to see who we are, the actors
Mm,
are, and how we interact with the characters, and everything's just been blossoming because it's just such a uh, as every episode goes on, we're kind of learning more and more about each other, and just
yeah.
fleshing everyone out. But yeah, we do have a lot of conversations about our characters and how they would respond to certain plot points based on
Yeah.
like age and whatnot.
Yeah. Because I think out of this particular group, like Thorfinn would have been the first one to become a ghost. I'm guessing that just time period, and obviously the episode kind of covering how he died, and right, so like he would have seen all the others kind of gradually turn up. So like I mean, I think for anyone that's if you go from being the only one to suddenly being surrounded by people, that'd be kind of like a jarring experience to go through, regardless of who you are, right?
Yeah, he was alone for quite some time.
Mm,
Like I think like maybe 500 years he was just chilling.
yeah,
So I think Thorfinn was pretty excited to get some friends. Plus, he's being alone. He was abandoned by his
yeah,
friends. So, he's got separation anxiety, and just kind of like just having a family is really big for him. So, uh, and it's kind of funny because like growing up as a kid, like I kind of had those things. Like I was like I just didn't like to like I always loved to be around friends and people, and
mm,
like being alone was just like I just didn't like to be alone a lot.
mm,
And like I always wanted to sit at lunch with everyone, and if someone left, I'd be like, "Why are they leaving? Like, don't go."
yeah,
It's like a lot of like similarities between and myself and Thorfinn. It's uncanny. Um, but yeah,
yeah.
Thorfinn definitely watched everyone come. He's seen it all. He's been around, so he gets it.
Mm.
He's got some stories.
Yeah, because like to that point, and like an interesting bit of logic people have used for like the BBC one, and also be true for this, that any of them who have secrets or like did something they think the others don't know about, the ones who are already ghosts would know. Like obviously, like in the BBC one, there's one of them doesn't even use his real name, but the others who are already dead would already know it, kind of thing. So I do think then there's any potential for like maybe skeletons, so pun intended, to like be dug up.
there's a lot of skeletons and a lot of closets.
Yeah.
We do get to them as the show's coming along, and
Mm.
it's going to be a lot of fun to like watch those closets open up and have a look at those skeletons. But yeah, there's a lot of situations where some of the ghosts kind of blow the whistle on other ghosts
Mm.
and their stories. I can't say any more than that, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and like considering like Thorfinn's like death in particular was covered like quite early on, were you surprised by like the manner of it or like how he kind of came to find himself where he is now?
You know what? That was fleshed out from the get go, like back in
Yeah.
2020, like
Mm.
2000 or like February 2020. Like, yeah, it that was on the page. Like, I think the scene that I read for actually was Thorfinn talking about his death and how
Oh, right. Okay.
the whole thing. So like I knew right from the get go how he
Mm.
died and how he came to just exist on the property. So
Mm.
no surprise there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think also when you're like playing a character like that, because certainly like for me, the thrill of like talking to you now is obviously you're very different to Thorfinn. Like you kind of like anticipating like those of you who are like playing very specific character types, kind of like people being surprised when they meet you that you're not like the character. Obviously, maybe in this case, people would think you're a Viking, but you know.
There I yes, like so typically people are kind of surprised when they meet me because like obviously my gruff exterior kind of says like, kind of hardcore. I don't know how people see me, but
Yeah.
always growing up, like I've always kind of wanted to I like friends. I like people. I like laughing. I like
Mm.
smiles on faces and belly laughter. So I've always kind of didn't want to like intimidate anyone because I always kind of knew I have like an intimidating look in my face.
Mm.
I don't know what's going on.
Mm.
So I always kind of, I like to smile and goof off, and I'm just really easygoing. Uh, it's definitely, which is kind of Thorfinn, though.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, yeah, I got a lot of Thorfinn in me, but like for other projects I've done, in the past, like mostly starting off in the industry, like I'd always play like these hardcore dudes, like ex Navy SEALs, and just kind
mm,
of like guys, drug dealer dudes, and like not good guys, just because
mm,
Hollywood likes to cast people that
yeah,
look the way those characters should play. So yeah, but Thorfinn definitely lives within me a lot. Like it's weird. Like I just like when I'm cooking, I talk in Thorfinn language to myself. Like just
mm,
in my head movies, I'm a little weird like that.
yeah. No, I think that's an interesting point you bring up though, because I think you hear a lot of stories of like people saying, "Oh, I wish I could play this kind of role, but people only see me as X, Y, Z." It's not even typecasting. Like it's just some people couldn't realistically play a certain type of character because it just wouldn't be plausible. People wouldn't buy it. But like, do you think? I don't know. Like, do you think maybe there could be a way to for people to break out of that kind of mold and like maybe try and explore different kind of characters?
I think right now, more so than even 5 years ago, I think people are giving a lot of opportunities to play against type characters. I think it's
Yeah.
just it's so it's against the norm. Like I think
Mm,
people are so personally as an audience member when I watch other content. I love seeing things that are surprising me, and I like
mm,
seeing castings you know that are atypical and unorthodox. I think it's more interesting, and
yeah.
so I think there's a lot more opportunity for actors these days to be able to play characters that they priorly would never have even been brought in for, and I think
Yeah.
that's what's really cool. The trajectory of where the industry's going is they're just giving opportunities to people, and if you're talented and you bring something interesting to the
Mm,
table, you get an opportunity. So I think there's I just love where it's going, and I actually a lot of people that maybe think that who's the dude from uh Better Call Saul? He just did
right.
like a John Wick movie. Like,
Oh,
come on now.
yeah, yeah.
Odenkirk.
Yeah, the lead. Yeah, Bob Odenkirk. Yeah.
You ask Bob Odenkirk, hey, are you going to play like this, badass,
Right.
John Wick, killer? Like he'd be like, probably never. And
Mm,
guess what? He did, and he killed it. It was a great movie, and everyone gets their own opportunity to do what you want.
mm. Um, and I was actually like reading online. I might have like had this mixed up, but it said that you're one of the few actors to have been in projects for both like the TV for both Marvel and DC. Is that true?
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah,
I play a superhero on Doom Patrol, which was an HBO Max, and
yeah.
Mentallo, and that's DC. And then I've done two projects for Marvel. Runaways. I just played a small kind of mysterious character in Runaways, and then
Mm,
there's one other one. This is terrible. I should know what it
yeah.
is. It was a
It's escaping me as well. Yeah, but I can't
uh,
recall.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I should.
I'm sure there's someone listening who's probably screaming it at us right now, but we just can't. It's not coming to either of us.
Agents of Shield.
Got it.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I've done a little bit of both. But the DC Doom Patrol, I'm such a fan of that show. Such an honor to be a part of that show, and they're doing great. I think they just
Yeah.
got a season 4, and
Mm,
everyone over there, they're just fantastic people. It's just such an interesting show. All the characters and the storylines. It's just, if you
yeah.
haven't watched it, you should watch that show. It's a wild ride.
Mm. Yeah, it wasn't until I read that little tidbit or that sentence that because it said that you're one of the few. I didn't realize how rare of like an achievement that was to actually. I mean, I guess on the TV side to have been in both because it can't be a huge number of people then who've done it.
You know, I guess so. But
Yeah,
my characters on the Marvel shows were just,
yeah,
they
smaller.
weren't
Yeah,
huge. It wasn't like a huge tentpole thing. I was just kind
yeah.
of nickel and diamond and just looking for jobs, and those jobs came up. I don't think
Mm,
anyone, I don't think anyone really cares. I mean,
yeah.
like the fact that you mentioned, I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, that is true. But
Mm,
I think the characters were like more like the Doom Patrol is definitely Flex Mentallo. I think is a definitely, he's a great character. But the
yeah.
other ones on the shows, I think they're kind of smaller characters, and
Hmm.
I don't know if that fully counts. You know,
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't
as
have
far as
like.
a credit, it counts. But I
Yeah,
feel like you need to have more of a fleshed out character in the Marvel world for that to really be like, hey, okay, this is Marvel. He's dual wielding.
yeah, yeah. Because I interviewed someone else actually a while ago, similar situation where it was about a different project, but he was in Doom Patrol and brought it up. But I think he played a character called the Ringmaster. I don't know if you ever would have come across.
That must have been.
Um,
Was that season 3?
I'm not sure exactly how long he was on it for, because, like I say, I was interviewing him about a different project, and this is just something else he had done because it was another DC show he was in. But the actor's called Mark Ashworth. He played a character called the Ringmaster. But yeah, I don't know. I thought you might come across him, but
What's up, Mark?
uh,
I don't know.
yeah. I guess obviously it's such a big, expansive world that I'm sure people are all over the place, and it's not like some tiny office where everyone knows everyone. So
Yeah, I mean, it's literally they put out casting calls, and I don't even know if they go back and make sure if you're not on the other one. And I used to
yeah,
think, I was like, oh well, if you do a DC thing, then you can't be on the Marvel thing. And I thought the
yeah,
world's it's at the end of the day, everyone's double dipping and going back and forth. I mean, I think it's happening a lot, especially in recent years. There's a lot of actors that are like doing
yeah,
features, DC, Marvel, and just
yeah.
hey,
Or even someone like Chris Evans, who's done two Marvel characters in feature films. He was in the Fantastic Four from like 15 years ago, and now Captain America. So even at that level, they're still doing it. So
he's a superhero.
yeah, for sure. I suppose though, going back to Ghosts, like without giving too much away, like what could you tease about where that's headed?
Well, I'll know more tomorrow
Oh,
because
okay.
we have 5 more episodes to shoot,
Mm,
and I have no idea what's going to happen from episode 14 to episode 18.
yeah.
Uh, it's exciting. I have no idea. I mean, the season, because initially we had 13 episodes, and so I know
Right.
we're weeding on 13, but obviously that's up the end of this season. So going
Mm,
forward, I mean, I'm excited just as everyone else to see where it goes. But through the first 13 episodes, we're going to see a lot of backstory from the other ghosts and see
Yeah.
where their origins came from and how they develop. And it'll be interesting. I
Mm.
can't give away too many Easter eggs, but there's definitely some good, very creative episodes where how can I say this without giving away too much? Where characters interact.
Okay. Okay. I think I might
I'm
have an
just gonna
idea.
say that. I'm just gonna
I
say
think
characters are interacting a little more.
yeah, I think I might have an idea of what you could mean, but I won't. I won't press that.
So
But
maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I just who knows?
yeah,
Whatever that means.
yeah, and I know it's not like an obvious comparison, but in a way, this show kind of reminds me of The Office a little bit, just because obviously, what having a BBC originator of it, but also I imagine as you guys go further along, you start to diverge more from like the premise of the BBC show. Obviously, kind of keeping maybe the same kind of like rules, so to speak, but like obviously. Because I think a lot of the groundwork is similar, but obviously I'm sure you become your own show more as you go along.
Yeah, I think as far as the rules, like we're still doing the rules too. Like
Yeah.
maybe a few episodes ago, did we discover that the ghosts can have
Oh,
adult
right.
connections? I think that
Mm-hmm.
that's possible.
Yeah.
In the beginning, like when we shot the pilot, we didn't know that that was a thing.
Yeah.
And then the fact that Sam can see ghosts everywhere.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Um, there is like, and there's a couple other little rules that get found in these coming episodes where there's certain areas where ghosts god I don't know what I'm allowed to say. Yeah,
Mm.
we gotta go forward. Yeah, I'll probably put my foot in my mouth here in a second.
Right. Yeah.
There's some definitely things there, in these next few episodes we're going to see some more uh scenes and plots arise about the world of ghosts and what they can and can't do.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I suppose obviously then maybe to wrap this up, this is my last question I've got, and kind of like in a more like general sense, like what do you hope to accomplish? I suppose obviously you've got the show, but like in the coming months as we go into 2022.
What I hope to accomplish,
Mm.
you know, I've always just wanted to, having had my start, as an athlete and being on a team, I just have always loved being on teams with great people. And the best part of being, you know, having played football in college and professionally a little bit was just being around creative people and collaborating and coming together and
Mm.
just uniting and whether you're winning games or uniting as an actor on a great project, with an ensemble cast, like
Yeah.
everyone coming together and putting something quality together. uh that's always been my intention. So just I mean, I'm just so grateful right now just to be on this cast with everyone,
Mm.
top to bottom, everyone, behind the camera. Everyone's so great. And just the fact that we get to keep doing what we're doing and people are enjoying it. I mean, that just makes me happy that we could goof around and people could, sit at home and enjoy that. That's like the gift right there. Just the fact that if you could just, my job, if I
Yeah.
could put a couple smiles on some people's faces,
Mm.
uh, boy, that's all that really matters to me. So if we
Yeah.
can put smiles on people's faces, my cup's
Yeah.
full.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
you
it,
kind of
yeah.
yeah, you were kind of like going towards this point when you were saying just I don't know if you kind of made it directly, but I never really thought of that. The idea of like the sports team and a cast kind of having similar values of like people coming together and kind of like doing something as a group. Like I never made that
It's
comparison until
insane.
you kind of yeah.
The I mean, the similarities are so, it's like, so football, right? You got all these
Mm.
guys, all these athletes, we all have different positions, and we have every week we play a different team,
Yeah.
and we study, and we practice, and then when it's game time, the ball's snapped, and then you
Mm.
throw away everything that you worked on all week, and then you play in that moment. Same thing with
Yeah.
acting, all these different characters. We every week we have a different a different script. We have a different team we play in football.
Mm.
We do our work on our end. We all have
Yeah.
our own job, but it's about working together as a team.
Mm.
And then when you do your work separately together, and then we come together, and then the director, who's also the coach, you
Yeah.
know, he calls the plays and stuff like that. And then when the ball is snapped, someone says action. That's when the scene starts. That's when the play starts in football. And
Mm.
that's what the beautiful part is about. That's what the art is, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Is you do all this work so that when it's time to do the job, it's fun. You don't think, and you just let it happen. And it's like that's
Mm.
that's the most fun part,
Yeah.
is when the ball snapped and you get to have this play because you have trained your body. Subconsciously what to do in every situation, so you just can respond. Same thing with acting. When they
Mm.
say action, you could just respond. You know what to do. You know your lines. You know what's happening. And
Yeah.
sometimes you mess up. Sometimes you miss a play. Someone scores a touchdown. Sometimes you forget your lines,
Mm.
and to take it over again. But it's all about this community and everyone's trust and working together. I mean, you got the similarities between football and acting just go way deeper. But
Yeah.
just on the surface level, there's so many similarities, and it's for me, it's all about working together with your teammates, because you can't win a game by yourself,
Mm.
and you can't make a scene by yourself. One person just can't talk, and everyone has to not do it.
Yeah.
It's a community thing. It's responding, listening, it's collaborating, and it's just everyone commingling and coming together, and it's
Mm.
making a product. And sometimes it's ugly.
Yeah.
Hey, oh man, we make ugly scenes all the time, and that's
Mm.
what's fun. You throw those out, you drop them off the editing floor, and you try again. And it's just it's the beautiful part about this business, is that just being together with a bunch of creative people
Mm.
and having those moments, and just trusting everyone, and just
Yeah. It's definitely a great way to kind of like distill it down, because I'm sure there's been people like yourself, like, athletes kind of finding themselves in the position to potentially start acting, and might kind of find that a bit daunting because, as you say, like on the surface or on paper, it's quite a jarring career move, or like, difference in what they entail. But obviously, as you say, kind of if you dig deeper in both, you can kind of draw more of a comparison, and at the same values are there, even if the physicality of it is obviously very different.
There's a lot of similarities between athletes and acting. I think there's a lot of guys that would probably love to do it, but one of the hardest things is when you devote your whole life to one thing,
Mm.
and you actually have success, you're 20 some odd years old, and then that thing's gone, and then
Yeah.
you're like, oh my God, do I have to start over from the bottom? Like, do I want to go act? Like, does
Mm.
that mean I have to start going out for these small little things, driving everywhere? Well, back in the day, they do Zoom auditions now, but you mean
Right.
driving across town, spending 4 hours in your car every day for years on end, to like just being a lot of guys when they make it to the top, and it's gone, they have that ego still, and
Mm.
it's like, I should never have to go back to the bottom and work your way up. And so I think a lot of guys miss out on acting. I think
Mm.
because I know a lot of people that are so fascinating and just have so much charisma that never pulled the trigger on going forward because it's so daunting. Like,
Mm.
I was naive. I had no idea. I didn't know the numbers of success rates. I was just like, this seems fun. Let's check it out. I didn't Google like, hey, chances of becoming a working actor. And if I would have seen that,
Right.
like, I'd be like, oh my God, what am I
Yeah.
doing? I'm never gonna
It's
make a living
scary.
here.
Yeah.
Didn't think about it. I was like, this sounds fun. Let's do this. And they kept pulling me like a tractor beam. But I guess, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm rambling, but
Mm.
it would be
No, it's
better if
fine.
there's a lot of talented people out there. I think if you just give it a shot, just start when you're young too. God, I wish I would have started when I was young. That would have been great.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously, as someone who's kind of made that move, you're on a great show, and I think, considering how well the version over here with the BBC is done, I think, there's the potential for this to do really, really well. And I guess just to say, like, best of luck with the show, with everything else you've got in your future, and just say all the best and take care and stay safe.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all the words, and we'll see what happens.
Mm.
The universe knows best.